Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be taking a little look into r/am I overreacting. So if you want to judge some big, massive drama queens with me today, possibly, then please do stick around and enjoy. And don't forget to like and subscribe, please. Thank you. And of course, a little disclaimer that any opinions I give on the post that we read are my opinions, and just that they are not fact and do not need to be taken as such. If your opinion differs from mine, do feel free to share it, I implore you to, but do not be mean to anybody else that does not agree with your opinion in the comments. Thank you, please. Anyway, first post posted by RubProfessional6659. Am I overreacting for pulling out of a vacation over the sleeping arrangements? I, 33F, and my fiance, 35M, were invited on a vacation by my sister, 42F. We were told that her and her husband would pay for the rental property, which was somewhere we had stayed before on a previous trip. Originally, I told her that I wasn't sure because even though this trip is still months away, my fiancé just started a new job and we didn't know if he would be able to get the time off. I asked her for the exact days and I told her that we wanted to come, but we weren't sure and I would let her know. I then received a text from her 2 days later telling me the house was booked and that her and her husband taught and they wanted us to pay $400. This threw me considering they said they originally would pay for the rental. I found out that $400 was a third of the rental price, but they said that they were going to be cooking at the rental property so they would cover all the food for the week. She also at this point informed me that they changed the dates by a few days. I told her that my fiancé had already requested off based off the days that she had originally given me, and I wasn't sure that he would be able to change them, and told her he would talk to his boss the next day he worked. My fiancé was able to get everything settled with work and I told my sister that we were on board with going and even agreed to pay the $400. However, the issue comes in when she told me that she allowed her 3 kids, 18, 14 and 12, to pick which rooms they wanted and that only 2 were left. One which had a twin-sized bed and one with a bunk bed. Oh my goodness. Yeah, why would you do that? Just put the kids in the rooms made for kids. I told her that I didn't think it was fair that me and my fiancé were paying a third of the rental fee but would have to sleep separately, even if it was in the same room, while 2 of her children were sleeping in a king and a queen-size bed. She suggested that we can either push the 2 twin beds together, or we could sleep on a blow-up mattress, but that she isn't going back on allowing her kids to pick rooms. I don't know if I would be in the wrong to back out of going because of this, or what should I do? I would back out. We've just had this sort of conversation in one that I read in a previous video I've just recorded. Don't know when you'll listen to that. It might be out of order to when you're listening to this, but I said in that, if I am paying a portion of the rental, Airbnb, whatever it may be, I would like to have an appropriate room because I'm paying a bloody portion of it. You know, this is ridiculous. It, to be honest, sounds like the sister wasn't thinking about the OP at all anyway, because she went and changed the dates after telling the OP original dates, knowing that the OP's husband was going to have to try and get time off. She's then said, oh, you'll have to pay $400 towards this, when it was always going to be that they were covering the rental cost, which, by the way, I don't at all disagree with. If you're all staying in a property, you obviously usually would all be expected to pay a portion of that cost. Obviously, though, she has said, oh, do you want to come and we're paying? So it could be that the OP doesn't have that kind of money set back, you know? It's a bit out of the blue, but I don't at all disagree with OP chipping in if that would have been the original plan. Now they've let their kids pick the rooms. Do they actually want OP and the husband to come? Because I'm thinking they might not, because it seems they're making it almost impossible for them to come comfortably. You know, they're trying to find ways to put them off, is the way I'm seeing this from an outside looking in perspective. I don't know if anyone else agrees, but that's what I'm seeing right now, and I'm wondering if they are trying to make the OP back out. I don't know if I would be in the wrong to back out of going because of this, or what should I do? My fiancé is suggesting we go on a different trip, just him and me, but with prices being so high for everything, I don't know if we could come up with the extra money in time. Would I be overreacting if I backed out of the trip? No, I don't think so. Not at all. Edit, the $400 was what they asked us to pay. We have more than that for another trip, but we were planning to go during peak season, so prices are a bit higher than normal, and we weren't sure if it was worth it to spend more money than we had to. Genuinely, I just genuinely get the feeling that the OP's sister does not want them to go. That's the way I'm seeing it. Update. So a few people were asking for an update, so here it is. Firstly, I want to thank everyone for posting. I really struggled on how to feel about the situation and what we should do, so I appreciate everyone's advice. Anyway, so the update. There was a chance that her middle child was going to bring a friend, in which case they would have to take the room with the 2 twin beds. I texted her to see if the friend had decided to come or not, and she replied to me that either way they decided they weren't going to make their child give up the room, and if the friend decided to come, they were going to take the blow-up mattress and put it in the room. She said that if we decided not to come because of it, then she understood. But basically, this is how it is, and she isn't changing her mind. Yeah, see? Exactly. I really don't think she wants the OP to go. I texted her telling her that it didn't make sense for us to go on and pay for a vacation where we weren't going to be comfortable, so we aren't going. The whole situation hurt my feelings, the fact that they expected us to pay a third of the rental, but didn't talk to me or consider us whatsoever when it came to the rooms. Feels disrespectful and is honestly insane. I just sent her that message, so I haven't heard back, but I don't see anything changing. My fiance and I are now looking into taking a separate vacation. We did have plans for another big trip with them to Asia in a little over a year. Thankfully, nothing has been booked for that trip. But because of this, we're leaning towards going on our own. Yeah, I think maybe that might be the right decision to go on your own, to be honest, because, yeah, if it's not that the OP's sister is trying to put them off going altogether because they just want to go with their own family, like, that's bad enough, just say so. But if it is that they're just being, like, really inconsiderate to the OP and her husband, and then expecting them to pay a big portion of it as well, absolutely not. That's just, yeah, that's not okay. So, down in the comments, Remote Temporary 244 says, just be like, nah, sorry, we are too grown to be pushing twin beds together. Thanks for the offer though, enjoy your vacation. And then No Suspect 5550 says, too grown to pay adult money for sleepover beds. Exactly. Oh my goodness. I just find that wild, like, the cheek of it, the bloody cheek. Goodness me. Okay, then next post posted by Easily Amused 17. Am I overreacting? My mother identifies as a doting grandmother but doesn't know my children. Is she one of those that posts on like social media like, I love my grandbabies, but never sees them and doesn't do a damn thing with them? Probably, we're going to find out. For context, my mother lives in the southwestern part of the United States. I live in the northeast. She's been sober since 2021. She's really put her life back together. She has a stable job, lives with her mum, and seems healthy and happy with her new life. I have 3 children, ages 6.5, 3.5, and 6 months. She has never come to visit them. She has only met my older 2 children when I've gone to my home state to visit, and I've brought them over to her condo. About 4 to 5 times total. Flippin' heck. She never calls, and I don't call either. She loves to identify as a grandmother. She made it part of her personality. Shows off photos of my children to strangers and brags about them. She loves to send me sappy reels about her love for the children and what life is like for her being a grandmother. It gives me the ick, because no matter how many times I've invited her to visit, offered to pay her plane ticket, pick her up from the airport, and to stay in our very comfortable guest house, she always has an excuse and has never come out. Today, I snapped. Am I overreacting? Okay, first of all, without reading the messages, I can say probably not, because I just find it insufferable when people put on this big act for socials and pretend, you know, that they are something they're not, and, you know, making everything seem like sunshine and roses, and I just can't stand that. And I know everyone does it to a degree. I get that. Everyone does it just in real life. face to face. People don't immediately go up to people and be like, "Ah, yeah, I've had a right shit week." I mean, most people don't. You know, go up to everyone, "I've had a right week, this has happened, that's happened, blah blah blah," unless it's like your close mates. I get that. Everyone puts on a facade to a degree. But I find it extra insufferable when it's like these grandparents that make themselves out like they do so much to make themselves sound like these excellent, loving, caring grandparents that do oh so much for their grandkids, and they never see them. And I find that just ridiculous. Anyway, let's have a look at the messages, shall we? So OP is in purple and the mum is in grey. So they sent some sort of video, I don't know what it says, and it says, "Hello, my name is Mimi." And OP replies, "Hi Mimi, it's sweet you feel so much pride around being a grandmother. I hope you'll choose to come actually visit your grandchildren once or twice before their childhood is over." And then Grandma replies, "Wow, hope your trip is as wonderful as you thought. I wish my ability to travel could be that easy. It's always a challenge to see things from other people's perspectives. For lots of us, travel isn't about choice. Thanks for your input." I mean, I get that. Like, sometimes it's money. Sometimes people are really bad at flying or what have you. And I'm assuming that one being in the south and one being in the northeast, there would need to be a flight involved. But I get that some people are really bad at flying, like really bad, terrified even. So I do understand that, but you could call, you could check in, you could FaceTime, you could try and find other ways, Anyway, OP then replies, "It's about priorities. Your reels ring kind of hollow when I've been a mother for 7 years and you've never come to witness my journey into motherhood. You've never felt what it's like to be in the home I've built. Never let blank give you a tour of his farm. Getting to know the children in their own world is completely different than a visit in your living room. Quality time is my love language. I truly hope someday you'll prioritize that time with me and my children." And then they say, "If you truly miss this feeling so much, you have an opportunity to come experience it again with your granddaughter." Oh, I'm guessing it's something about missing being a mum or something. I don't know. We didn't get to see the actual video. And then they say, "Blank is aware of your lack of presence. It confuses him. I continue to make excuses for you, but someday he will realize that Mimi never chose him, and that window of opportunity for a relationship with him will have passed. I don't want that for you. I want you to know him and the girls, but it takes desire and effort. I know you've got excuses, work, money, your mum, traveling is scary, etc. I'm willing to help you navigate whatever you need, but you have to want it." Yeah, that window for bonding with a kid is so flippin' small. Like, whether it's like your grandchild or not, like, there comes a point where they just don't know you enough and then they're just going to feel awkward around you. I can say that from personal experience because I didn't really have a close relationship with like aunties and uncles and cousins and stuff when we were kids. We didn't really see them. So now I don't have a relationship with any of them at all. I could probably pass a few of them in the street and not actually know who they are. I'm like deadly serious. Because they didn't really make any effort with us. Like, I remember my dad would take us to theirs now and then, but they never made any effort, never once came to our house. I don't remember that happening once. So yeah, now we don't have a relationship with them, and I don't think I've had any relationship with them since I was really, really young, to be honest with you. Anyway, the OP then adds some edits and says, "Thank you to everyone who has taken the time to reply. The consensus is pretty split, which accurately reflects my feelings on the situation. I appreciate every perspective, especially those who have helped me understand her journey with sobriety better." Edit 2. This post blew way past any expectations I had. I will read every comment. Your words, whether they're kind or not, are appreciated. I've reached out to my mum again with the intent of gentler communication and acceptance for where she's at in life. You've all given me so much to consider. Yeah, I understand that. I understand she's on a sobriety journey, and I get that that's definitely gonna have been hard for her. All I can tell you is when you have a parent who is addicted to alcohol, or, I'm imagining drugs would be the same. It would be the same sort of difference, I guess. It's really difficult to then look past that when you're an adult, even if they're past that, because that has such a knock-on effect to you as their child. And then trying to move past that and see them as the new person that they are is difficult, because you still hold a lot of animosity for the stuff they did when they were in the heat of the addiction, I suppose. So, yeah, I understand where people are coming from, saying she's on a sobriety journey and blah, blah, blah. But I also think that people need to understand that that does not give the mum an excuse to not do what they should have been doing in the first place. And it doesn't mean that then, just because she's on a sobriety journey, that the OP should push their feelings about that to the back. Because no, like, her mum's decisions directly affected the OP in a negative way at the end of the day. So yeah, you can understand why the OP might be a bit more sensitive and touchy around their mum. I can totally get that. Just as I say, I understand that the mum might have some very difficult things going on that make it difficult for her to travel. I do get that as well. But this is where, the wonderful technology we have in the form of voice calls, video calls, comes in handy, because she can form a bond with the grandchildren by making an effort to do weekly calls with them, Anyway, so down in the comments, Josie Dozy Doo says, the best thing I ever learned in therapy, my mother, 90, is a hardware store, and I, 59, need to stop going to her to get an ice cream cone. Once I was able to come to terms with that, I had a better relationship with my mother. I didn't go to her for things I wasn't going to get. I found other people for that. It's so much better because now I'm able to love her for who she is and love myself for respecting both of our boundaries and what we bring to our very complicated mother-daughter relationship. So this one was posted by Imaginary Air 24. Am I overreacting for my friend insinuating that I break up with my girlfriend? Context, both my girlfriend and I are WLW. I can't tell you how many times it took me to actually say that. I kept saying LWL. Think that stands for women loving women or women love women. So lesbian, I think. We were put in touch with each other September of last year by my friend who this post is about. I have a 1-year age gap with my girlfriend. When we met, I was 17 and she was 16. My birthday was 3 days ago, which makes me now 18, and my girlfriend will turn 17 in 2 months. She is still 16 at the moment. My friends have joked about how the current age gap might look weird, provided with no context. And my girlfriend has joked about it as well, but I truly did not mind because it was all jokes and they weren't seriously implying that I had bad intentions, because I don't. I had no idea my friend was actually worried about this until yesterday, especially since he's the reason I'm dating my girlfriend right now. He was our #1 cheerleader and also incredibly happy when we made it official. I don't have any serious bad blood with him, and I considered him as one of my closest friends. I've never shown any behaviour signalling I'm predatory either. He refused to talk to me over text, so I ended up going to his house and begging him to resolve this, because I'm genuinely horrified to be accused of this shit. I kept asking him to tell me if I ever acted in a manner which made him think I'm this type of person, but he kept deflecting. All he made clear was that he wasn't trying to attack me or anything, but he just wants the best for my girlfriend. I left because he asked me to, but I'm at a loss. To make shit worse, I was talking to another friend only to find out he's gone to her as well with his concerns of me having bad intentions, asking her to convince me to reconsider my relationship. Now I'm scared there's rumours going around of me being a horrible creep when I genuinely have no idea what his problem is with me. I love open communication and want nothing more than to understand if I did something wrong and made him think negatively of me, but he refuses to talk to me and keeps saying that now I'm 18, I need to break up with her. There is no power I hold over my girlfriend. If anything, I bend to her will more than she does mine. I love her with all my heart, and this is my first real relationship. I have serious self-esteem and confidence issues because of childhood trauma, and I'm grateful that my girlfriend isn't the type of person to take advantage and manipulate me. I won't go into detail of the trauma because I don't want this post to be reported or taken down. All I will say is it was really bad and left a permanent mark on me. I was manipulated into thinking I was in love with a horrible person, and what happened to me was disgusting. My friend knows about this and my PTSD. I feel incredibly hurt and heartbroken because I saw his words as him implying that I'm capable of showing similar behaviour to my girlfriend. Further context, I found out 2 weeks ago that he used to have a huge crush on my girlfriend. She saw my pic in his phone gallery and thought I looked cute. He still liked her at this point, but knew she is a lesbian, hence felt pressured to give her my Instagram for contact. I'm not sure if he has gotten over his crush until now. I had suspicions before he told it to me himself, and I suspect that there are still lingering feelings, but I'm not sure how heavily this plays into this drama. I've always seen him in a good light, and I'd like to believe he wouldn't go this low over a stupid crush, but he isn't giving me other reasons, and I don't know what to make of all this. My girlfriend has noticed my behaviour is off, but I haven't told her about the argument yet. She considers him a close friend, and I'm hesitant to ruin a friendship, but if he doesn't come to me with an explanation, I'm not hiding shit from my partner, especially since it concerns her as well. Yeah, I mean, definitely, first of all, before even reading these, you've got to say to your partner what's going on, because the last thing you want is him worming in before you do and making stuff sound like something it isn't, you know? So, yeah, food for thought. Anyway, the OP is in orange and the friend is in grey. Not gonna lie, that's kind of weird. Are you sure you should be dating her right now? OP just puts 3 question marks. It's creepy. Bro, I didn't realise it looked that way to you, laughing my butt off. I'm not joking. It's weird. It's not that big of an age gap though. Also, she turns 17 in 2 months. You're officially old enough to be a pedo. And dating someone that you have power over gives me the ick. Oh my god, they are literally just regurgitating stuff they've heard offline, aren't they? This is the problem, like, online is great and everything until people do this. They start just taking stuff that they hear offline and they get all very dramatic with it and everything's a big drama, and it's like, no, this isn't what's happening here, and it undermines the times when it is happening, because then no one takes it bloody seriously. If you sit there going, oh, they've got a year's age gap between them, they are 16 and 17 and the one just happens to have just had their birthday, you're making a massive deal out of it. It undermines when there actually is a problem, you know? Anyway, OP then says, what power? It's not that big of a deal, I promise. I get that you were worried, but I swear that it's not that big of a deal. I do not hold that much power over her. What kind of person do you think I am? And then he just puts, And then she says, is this something you're actually worried about? Yeah. I feel like the proof is in the pudding for how disingenuous his concern is and how performative it is by the fact that all of a sudden he's like, no, this is wrong. But for the whole time they've been dating and had the exact same age gap, he hasn't said a single word. And he was actually really happy when they got together. So what has changed between then and now? Because it is not the age gap, I'm telling you that. So what has changed, good sir? Bro, you know me well enough to know that I'm not that kind of girl. I genuinely love blank. I can't talk right now. I'm in class. Can we call later? You there? And then they try and call them twice. You can't just not talk to me and get mad without reason. If you're that worried about this, then why did you set us up last year? That's the biggest part. They set them up knowing about the fact there was a year between them. And now they're kicking off about it. I do think that this dude just fancies the OP's girlfriend and wants to try and break them up so he can have a shot. Which is hilarious because she's not into you, dude. She doesn't like guys by the sound of it. She's literally said she's a lesbian. She's not said bi, she said lesbian. I don't think you have much of a chance, pal. You're the reason that we're dating, and I'm really grateful for that, but not gonna lie, this is kinda hurtful. Being a good friend to your girlfriend does not mean it warrants jealousy, and that is the most. So, being a good friend means accusing me of wanting to groom her. It's actually really fucking insulting to bring this up when you know what happened to me when I was 12. You really think I'd stoop as low to do that thing to someone I love? Abuse low-key facilitates abuse, like you said before. Now don't be a hypocrite. Can we meet, please? Busy tomorrow, and I don't want to. I feel weird. You won't even talk to me over call. I just want to talk, please. You're my best friend. Yeah, I do think that either this dude is just really flipping dramatic and just likes to throw words around he doesn't really understand, because that's not what grooming is. That's just not how that works. That's not how any of it works. And to set them up and then all of a sudden have a problem with it, I think it speaks volumes, I think. And I'm the first one. You will all know I am the first one to criticize large age gaps or inappropriate age gaps, you know? I'm the first one to be like, that's not probably okay. So yeah, no, this OP's best friend is just being a big drama queen, for one. Maybe even trying to break them up so he can have the girlfriend for himself. For two. Anyway, let's have a look what the comments say, shall we? So, medium-sized Maze says, not overreacting. Tell your girlfriend. You're being accused with zero reason. He's trying to get you to break up because he has a crush on her. Situations like these have nuance. An adult dating a minor is concerning to everyone, exactly. Except in this case, you were both dating as minors. And even then, there wasn't a big age gap between them either. It's like a year. Do you think every high school couple breaks up once one of them becomes 18? Silliness, exactly. And then JHub062 says he definitely has a crush on her. OP said the accusation was hurtful and her friend jumped to, being a good friend to your girlfriend does not mean it warrants jealousy. OP didn't accuse him of being jealous. No, OP didn't actually. That's a good spot. She said the accusation was hurtful. Friend told on himself. Okay then, so I think that's all we've got time for today. If you made it all the way to the end with me, then I appreciate you very, very much. If you give a little like, subscribe, notifications on, that is your initiation into the Coven of Void. Welcome. Don't forget to leave an offering of a comment for Big Al. He likes to eat them as snacks. Yes, he does. Whatever it is you're doing for the day, I hope you have a really good rest of the day. Goodbye.